Amanda. How are you doing today?
I'm all right.
Well, I know you said that you had, you gave me a call and you said you had something kind of pressing that you needed to talk to me about. And I just, before we get started with any of that, I just want to remind you of what we talked about in the very first session you came to me. The disclosure policy is that if you say something that leads me to believe that you're going to harm yourself or someone else, or that you know of anybody, like a child or older person who's being abused, that I cannot keep that confidential. But other than that, everything you say here is confidential unless it's like subpoenaed by court, which rarely happens, but I just need to let you know that. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we just start by doing what I was thinking is, and you can tell me if you want to change this or if it's okay. Whatever the case may be, I was thinking we just start with a brief rundown of, what happened that was so pressing and urgent today, and then talk about how you were feeling during that time, and then after that, I would just help you out with some ways to kind of help you deal with that particular issue, whatever that may be, and then after that, we'll check and see how you're feeling about actually doing that. And then we're going to do a little of what's called guided imagery and relaxation together,
Okay.
to kind of help you practice it, and then we'll check how you're feeling from there. Does that sound good?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, alrighty. So tell me a little bit about what happened.
Well, I've been feeling more anxious than, I guess, usual. I especially on days that I have to go to class. Like, immediately when I wake up and I know it's a class day, I just start to feel serious anxiety, like, in my stomach, and I have trouble breathing, and it just feels like a ton of bricks are, like, on my chest. But anyway, well, basically, why I called you the other day was because I felt like I had been making progress in steps to, like, go to school and not be as anxious. There's definitely anxiety when I go, but it really pissed me off the other day. I went in and, like I said, I was already anxious about that day, and the teacher pretty much is like, well, it's pop quiz time.
Oh, no.
And I don't know, like, just internally, I freaked out, and I was like, I can't do this shit, like, I'm not, and so I started, like, literally having a panic attack, and I just had to walk out of the class. And so I didn't take the quiz, obviously, and so I failed that. And that makes me even more anxious because I've been trying so hard to get over these fears. And then, it's like pop quiz. I'm like, and, like I said, as soon as I walked out of the class, I just like had such trouble breathing, and it flared up my asthma, and I had to hit my inhaler several times before I even got out of the building. And then after I got out of the building, it was like it got worse, because then I'm thinking, oh my God, they're in there taking a quiz right now, and I'm missing it. But it just totally threw me off, because it was like first thing, pop quiz. And so I've just been like having serious anxiety, like panic attacks, like to the point where I'm having trouble catching my breath in order to do anything, like, at all.
Anything scholastic related?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like that, that for a while there you were making some, progressive steps and going to class. You weren't, skipping as much, because I know when we first met,
yes,
you were skipping about every other class for every class.
Mm-hmm.
And, it sounds like that you had made some effort to, go to class despite the anxiety that you were feeling, which is a really big strength, and I just want to take a second to commend you on that, because just the fact that you were able to, do some self-talk and talk yourself through that anxiety to go to more classes is really good, and, definitely some steps in the right direction. But then you went to this class today. What class was it?
CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy.
You went to the CBT class today,
Yeah.
and they announced it was going to be a pop quiz, and it just kind of, in your mind kind of derailed all the efforts and kind of made you really just start panicking.
Exactly. I mean, it just threw me off, because I thought, I'm going to go to class and be involved in lecture and take notes. And, you know, and it's hard enough, too, I think, for me to go and, like, be around a bunch of people. Like,
Right.
I don't know, I guess just socially I'm trying to get better at it, but I feel just very awkward, I guess, sometimes when I'm around, especially a bunch of strangers, and I feel like they're all, like, smarter than me, and I'm just dumb and don't get it. So, you know, especially when it's something that, like, just throws, you know, it, like, threw me off my game. Like, I was going and I was trying and thinking, I'm going to class today, and I'm going to, you know, go through the entire day, and I'm not going to skip any classes. And then the very first class, I get there, and it's like, very first thing came out of the teacher's mouth was pop quiz. And so, yeah, I just felt very anxious about it, and therefore I ended up leaving campus, and I didn't go to any of my classes the rest of the day. So that, I don't know, it just made my anxiety worse, I guess, because later in the afternoon I'm thinking, I missed 4 classes today because I got so, like, sick feeling over the pop quiz thing that I was just not prepared for, I guess. I don't know.
Now, let's, if we can, let's specifically focus on how you were feeling when he announced that there was going to be a pop quiz. Tell me about the feelings that you were having. You know, you told me about the mental / emotional feelings, the anxiety, but tell me how you were feeling physically.
Like, immediately my gut reaction was like, I'm going to puke. I'm totally going to throw up before I can even walk out of the classroom. And that, I was thinking, how embarrassing would that be to have that happen? And then, like I said earlier, I just, like, it got to the point where I was just having such trouble breathing because, you know, I guess it's just the panic attack stuff going on. And so then that in turn, like, just triggers my asthma, and then I had to hit my albuterol inhaler several times before I even got, you know, off campus. And that's a painful feeling too, you know, when you feel like you can't catch your breath, even though you're not doing anything physically to make that happen. So, you know, after I hit the inhaler several times, it kind of helped, but then I still felt like the shortness, like, where it feels like, I don't know, like a cinder block or something is literally sitting on my chest. And then I start feeling, like, clammy and really sweaty. And then I feel even worse because I'm, like, sweating buckets. So either way, I wouldn't have wanted to sit in 4 classes that day after. If I would have been able to get over my anxiety and take the quiz, then, you know, would I have been sweaty all day? I don't know. I just think about stuff like that. Like,
right. And, you know, because what all this is a chain of physiological responses that your body is giving, that your body is, I guess, producing because of the anxiety. And what I want to kind of teach you is, it's called deep breathing relaxation technique. And what that's going to do is that's going to relax your muscles and, you know, not allow those physiological responses to kind of take root and take hold of you. And it's going to allow you to catch your breath, because what happens when you're having a panic attack, when you go into panic mode, is you kind of start breathing shallower. And, you know, you might not realize it, you know, in your mind, but, you know, within your body, within your physiological self, you'll start hyperventilating, and that is what makes you feel the chest tightness. So if you can kind of take, you know, nice deep breaths from your diaphragm to kind of help those muscles open up and help yourself relax, then that's going to produce, let's call it a positive chain of physiological events to not make you feel so panicky. And, you know, while you're breathing, it'd also be helpful to, you know, think, you know, yes, this is happening, but I will be okay. I will get through this. Do you think that you'd be okay with practicing that for a second?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to just take a deep breath in through your nose, and you want to feel it in your diaphragm, like in your stomach area. So deep breath in. Think, I will be okay. I can get through this. And then deep breath out through your mouth. Deep breath in with thoughts, positive thoughts, and then out through your mouth. You want to try one by yourself?
Sure.
Okay. In, out, Very, very good.
Just kind of feel good.
And how did you feel whenever you did that?
Like, for a moment, I felt blank inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing was going on, I guess, in my mind, which is probably a good thing, because I wasn't, like, thinking about good or bad stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
And just kind of releasing all of that.
That's good. That is very good, and that's the kind of the goal of this, is to kind of help you release those emotions and release that tension and release that anxiety, give it up.
Yeah.
And what I want to do now, if it's okay, is kind of take you back through that situation and get you to practice it while you're kind of in that situation. I mean, as in that situation as you're going to be able to get in a therapist's office and not actually in it.
Right.
But so what it is you have just walked into class and you're feeling really good about the fact that you were able to go to the CBT class. And you sit down, you take out your laptop, you boot it up, and you get, once that's all booted up and done, you connect to the Wi-Fi in case you might need it, and you get into your CBT note file, and you're thinking, I have got this. This is great. I am on top of my game today. Mm-hmm. And then the teacher comes in, and he's like, hey, folks, how you doing?
And the walls come crashing down. I'm just kidding.
And then he stands up in front of the class, and, you're further thinking to yourself, I got this. It's going to be okay. And then he says, well, class, I got a surprise for you today. And you tense up a little bit because you're like, oh, God, he's got a surprise for me today? What is a surprise going to be today? And then he says, we're going to have a pop quiz over chapters 4 and 5. And you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and you think, yes, this is a pop quiz, but it's going to be okay. I have studied. I know this information. And you take about, I would say, 5 or 6 deep breaths. And instead of having your previous response, you sit there, you take a pencil out of your bag, and he passes out the quiz test Scantron sheet thing, and you take the quiz, and he grades them right there. And to your surprise, you have made 100 on that quiz. And the whole while, you will have continued to do this deep breathing. And how does that make you feel?
Makes me feel good. Makes me feel accomplished.
Good.
So I'm trying.
Right.
And especially if I got 100, that's a really great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Don't see those very often. So if I did, that would be like, sweet, I can do it.
And and what also might help is if when you do get 100 and you're allowed to get those paper back, because sometimes professors like to keep papers for their files, but if you're allowed to have it back, and this is going to sound kind of silly now, but frame it or tack it up on your bulletin board.
Yeah.
So you can see it. So there is tangible proof or visual proof that, you know what, I might have this anxiety, but it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And do you think that you might be able to take the deep breathing relaxation and the guided imagery exercises and, kind of apply them to your class schedule?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know there's probably some days will probably be worse than others and vice versa.
Right.
But yeah, it totally helps. I mean, I already can kind of see, like, if this situation happens again, because I would obviously felt worse that I missed 4 classes and a pop quiz and failed that quiz because, like I said, I was just thrown off by it. But if, I felt worse with that as opposed to the alternative of just, telling myself, I can do this. I've gone this far. My goodness, I made it to class. I should have just stayed.
Yeah.
But,
and now, hypothetically, do you think that if you had that coping skill, if you'd had that coping tool, the breathing and the guided imagery relaxation, but more particularly the deep breathing relaxation. If you had that, would you have then, taken the pop quiz and went to your other 4 classes?
Most likely.
Okay.
Most likely, yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. So now do you think that if you go to, that or some other class and a pop quiz is announced, but yet you have other classes afterwards, do you think you'll be able to use that and take the quiz and then go on about your day with the other classes?
Yeah.
Great. That is great. That is wonderful to hear. Well, Amanda, it was really good to see you this time, and I hope that this has helped.
Yeah,
someone.
it has.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Oh, got it right on the money again, girl. Good job.